we got a this weekend. Brian Castano facing Jermell Hitman Charlo. But before we get into that, man, I need all of my new students to hit that subscribe button. Man, old students, hit that like button, man. It really helps the channel when y'all like the content. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it, man. It helps suggest it to other viewers. So appreciate it if everybody stepping through could hit that like button one time for me. But let's get to it, man. We got unified super welterweight championship of the world, man. Jermell Hitman Charlo, 31 years of age, 6 foot, 73-inch arm reach. He stands at 34-1. One of the best resumes in boxing. If you don't think so, I'm about to run it down for you. Austin Trout, Gabe Rosario. Also wins against Charles Hadley, John Jackson, Jason Rosario. Man, dude done fought them all. Tony Harrison, he went 1-1 in that, as we all know. He did lose the first bout, came back to knock Harrison out in tremendous fashion in the second bout. But yeah, definitely one of the best. Also, Erickson Lubin on that list of his food. So Jermell Charlo done had one of the best all-you-can-eat buffets in boxing right now. But he gonna be fighting against Brian Castano, 32 years of age. He stands at 17-0-2. 2 draws to Jermell Charlo in their first bout. This is a rematch. And second draw to Erislan De Lara. He stands at 5'7.5", 67.5-inch arm reach. That's a -5 reach advantage for Jermell Charlo. But let's get into why I think he'll be able to negate that. And what makes Brian Castano so important, as you see him shoot that jab just to kind of check the distance. When he shoot that jab, is really to check the distance or to jab with you and close the distance. But once he shoots it, watch how fast he commit. Now, you're going to see him go from a high guard to a Philly shell, depending on if he inside or outside or off the line. If he's off, when he's on the line, he usually goes into that high guard. When he outside and off the line, he'll sit in that Philly shell. But you see Jermell Charlo try and jab over there just so he can control the line. And Brian Castano knows at this moment he trying to get outside. So Brian Castano gonna commit in these type of situations. He don't really, as you can see him check the distance. Now he's going. Once he checked the distance, he's going, because he expects Charlo to be there once he checks that distance. And he used power shots to also close the distance, which is something that I really want you to pay attention to, because this can be a way that Charlo can counter him. And I really looked at that for that to be one of the traps that Charlo looks to set, as he told us he does look to set some. But you see Charlo whiff on that, and that's really Charlo's problem. And you see Brian Castano just closing the distance and tracking him without doing what? Without throwing any punches. You letting him get close to you, which you did repeatedly. Now look at Brian Castano, which is A-level boxing. He shoots that right hook just to keep Charlo on the line. Go downstairs, come back upstairs to land that left hook. And that's A-level boxing, because you know once he knows that he got to eat that right hook to get outside. So he going to stay inside. Once he knows that you're committing to going inside, he realizes he can't hit you with an in the club punch. So he sets it up, going to the body, rolling with the left hook, and coming back upstairs. A-level boxing. Gotta congratulate Brian Castano. We give you your flyers where they do at OTB boxing class. Definitely an A, B+ level boxing IQ. Have to say that. But as you see Jermell Charlo stuck in a corner, as he was during this fight, and Brian Castano shoots that jab just to check the distance. Now once he checks the distance, look at him go. He'll go and he'll land that right hook, which he landed repeatedly in this fight. Because Jermell Charlo, just as Jermell Charlo, neither one of them really have good head movement, and they don't have good punch discipline. When I say punch discipline, I mean that when I throw my left jab, I want to make sure my head is off the line and I'm on the phone. When they throw and land their punches, they sit there because they sell out so hard on their punches. And that's really going to be to his detriment throughout the remainder of his career. I don't think that that's something that you're going to be able to fix in such a time period and somebody with such good power. Now look at that jab back to the body to check the distance. Now in the right hand corner, you just gonna see a couple more right hooks that Jermell Charlo eat, because I just wanted to show y'all that. Look at the head movement. Look at the head movement. He sits there and practically waits on that punch. He sits on his back foot and says, I'm going to take that punch. And a lot of times you see both of the Charlos do that. And once Brian Castano knew that he would be successful and that Jermell Charlo was just going to sit there and wait on that punch to shoot his shot, to counter him with his shot. And that's an exchange. And in exchanges, we going to look at some film later that's going to show you why I think that Jermell Charlo wins the exchanges with a 5.5-inch reach advantage. But Brian Castano, look at him closing the distance, and Jermell Charlo ain't punched. He ain't punched yet. He ain't shot that stick out there. Now he gonna drop the levels just to let you know I'm taking another step in. I'm coming. And look at what Jermell Charlo does. He still don't shoot that jab. You done let this man walk all the way up on you, damn near from across the club. He done walked up on you from, we had the last exchange across the club. He walked all the way up on you and hit you with what? In a club punch. And that's going to be the punch that Brian Castano lands repeatedly in this fight if Jermell Charlo don't use that pretty ass jab that he got. That body shot right there is just from Brian Castano realizing he's rotating this way. He's trying to get away from this in the club ass punch I just hit him with, and I can take this little point right here to the body, and I'm gonna get right back on his ass on my front foot. And Jermell Charlo had success later on in this fight when he put Brian Castano on his front foot. But look at that jab. Now you're going to use the jab once your ass done got hit with 3 in the club punches. So I look for Jermell Charlo to come out early in this fight and really use that jab before you get hit with these in the club ass punches. And don't let him walk to the fight this weekend. I know that. You better come with that stick. And if he don't bring that stick, I'm telling you what we going to be looking at. You're going to be looking at Brian Castano dictating this fight. But what impressed me in the press conference is you hear Jermell Charlo say, you're going to fall for one of these traps. And so I had to find one of these traps. Now look at him shoot the 2-piece. Now I'm going to go outside when really I want to get back inside so I can keep my head outside that lead foot. Like I said, that's controlling the line. When I can keep my head outside that lead foot, I know that I can land my left hand. Now, I'm just going to come back until you get where I want you to get. But I need you to punch. Now, look at Charlo jump into that right hand that I told you Castano committed to him taking once he decided he wanted to get outside. Charlo knew that, so he rolled with it and smothered those punches. Ate this punch and bang, and bang. And that's why Charlo will win these type of exchanges, because he's the faster fighter and he has the reach advantage and he has the power advantage. So in any type of exchanges, he'll win. However, because he has no defensive principle, look at him take that right hand. Look at him take that right hand, which is really the right hand that let him off the hook. And then look at his feet, y'all. This ain't no orchestrated pressure. I don't give a fuck who you hit in this manner. Excuse my language, I'm sorry about that. But I don't care who you hit in that manner, it's not going to be successful. Your feet ain't up under you. You got one of the best boxers in boxing, and he has to control his emotions and really orchestrate his pressure and set up his punches. Who's the bigger puncher? Look at how many more punches Charlo take later on in this fight just to land his punch. So Charlo damn near got a Mexican style of boxing where he, look at Tony Harrison, land his punch in the exchange, but because he's the bigger puncher, he'll be the more successful fighter in these type of exchanges. So I really think that he'll win these type of exchanges due to his success in number one rematches. But also I think that he'll come in from the bulk of this fight and attempt to put and meet Brian Castano's pressure. In the first fight, it looked like he really wasn't used to seeing that pressure. Now, mind you, when we talk about the type of fighters he fought, Jason Rosario, Tony Harrison, Austin Trout, Erickson Lubin was the only fighter who really fought off of pressure in that list of fighters. Down to Charles Hatley and all of them. All of them were really boxer punchers. You know what I mean? And and he was a boxer puncher then. However, now I really think that he'll look to sit on his shots in this fight, and he'll find his moment, and Brian Castano will give him his moment. As we've seen, Brian Castano, he really has a problem dealing with the athleticism and the punching power of Jermell Charlo, which is going to be big, and conditioning, and who's in shape, who's prepared to go through the championship rounds. The championship rounds could win this fight, as in the last fight. I believe that's all that led Jermell Charlo to a draw. And for all you people that think that Jermell Charlo won that first fight, man, one of them scorecards was 117, 111. Like, ain't no way in hell that fight was 117, 111 for Jermell Charlo. So it's going to be a lot of pressure on the judges to call an even fight. And I really look for both of these fighters to give us the best version of themselves. However, I am picking Jermell Charlo in this fight because of his success in rematches. And as I said, because of his ability to win these type of exchanges. And I really do believe that he can be the better boxer if he go in there and box and is patient, because we've seen how impatient he was in some of these clips once he land his shot. But all in all, hit that bell notification so they can let you know when we in the kitchen. I enjoy cooking up this video with y'all, man. Shout outs to Bread Man. Shout outs to Big Coach Bread Man Edwards, man. I appreciate you tapping in. Got something coming from y'all. Shout out to Ohio Run Boxing. Y'all tune in to Loyal to the Game Boxing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tune in to Everything Boxing when he on. Tune in to BFTB. Tune in to G5 Gay. Tune in to all of the content, KQKC Network. Man, all of the content creators who are instrumental in OTB Boxing Class 1-on-1. Shout out to the LDBC and the forefathers of this shit. Man, and the YTC community. Shout out to Scotty at WCS, Big Brother Money Brown, all of these networks. I'd appreciate it. My subscribers got over there and subscribed, but I enjoy breaking this shit down with y'all. It was a little extended because of the magnitude of the fight. I also drop my fight film later because I'm not the only person who do this. I like to make sure that I got the only film and that I use different film than different other content creators who are film analysts. So I try and make sure that we give you something different at OTB Boxing Class, as we know the perspectives is different. Everybody don't see what I see. So on that note, class is dismissed. Until the next one, we out.